well-being. Please welcome CEO and VP of Marketing Patrick Chung and Brian Herf with the presentation Heard of NAD plus Skincare.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you've had a good couple of days here, 3 days here. So an opportunity to, hear a little bit of education, to educate yourself, to meet different brand partners out there and socialize. So I think it's been a great day. It's been a great couple of days, and we're really happy to share with you about transforming lives through wellness, anti-aging, and science. So how many of you here today are professionals in the beauty space? Okay. How many of you are familiar with something called NAD? Any of you? Well, that's great, because you know what? We're here today to talk about NAD and what it means for the future of skincare. So what is NAD? NAD stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, right? That's a lot to say. It is a ton to say, but that's why we call it NAD. Now, NAD really, it's a coenzyme that has to do with cellular energy production and cellular metabolism. And it's been known for decades by scientists that, if we don't have this critical function performing, our cells would die and we ultimately would die. But the discovery that was made by Dr. Charles Brenner while he was at Dartmouth College, he discovered the biochemical pathway of what NAD does and how it can repair your cells and repair your DNA. You see, when your cells are exposed to oxidants, such as UV light, your cells become damaged. And your cells, not just your cells, but your DNA can be damaged. In fact, they can get their strands can get cross-linked, which can lead to a whole host of genetic and genomic instability issues that last to, or lead into other things. Well, one of the reasons for aging happens to be a decline in the concentration of our NAD. That's right, NAD, as we age, it declines. Now, what does that look like? What's actually happening? Well, again, since we're talking about NAD and cellular metabolism, it means that our skin cells, they turn over at a slower rate. In fact, all of our cells turn over at a slower rate, but our skin cells, since we're talking about skincare, they turn over at a slower rate, and it turns into dull-looking skin. We also want to acknowledge that we have a lower capability to repair our cells when they become damaged. That's associated with lower NAD. And lower NAD rates mean also that we produce less collagen, or we synthesize less collagen, meaning you have more sagging skin. And with less NAD, lower NAD levels, you actually have because NAD plays a role in inflammatory response mediation, what we typically see as people age, we see more redness in people's faces. Now, the good news is that there's a molecule called NR for short. NR is the short name version for nicotinamide riboside. Now, nicotinamide riboside can actually replenish our NAD. And how do we know that? Well, we know that NR is a precursor to NAD, meaning it ultimately gets converted into NAD. You see that we understand that NR is a powerful antioxidant. We understand that NR can combat the decline of NAD levels that are associated with aging. In fact, we understand that because of who's up here. Dr. Charles Brenner is the world's foremost authority on NAD metabolism. He so happens to be a co-founder of Ayucell. He so happens to be our chief scientific advisor. He is a chairman at the Department of Diabetes and Cancer Metabolism at City of Hope in Los Angeles. So we are revolutionizing skincare with nicotinamide riboside, NR for short. Every so many years, we see big advances, step changes in skincare, and that's driven by the ingredients, whether it be retinol or collagen peptides or growth factors. There's step changes. What we are talking about with NR, that happens to be the next big thing that's going to come out and be available. We, as Ayucell, just happen to be talking about it first. So how does it work? What's unique about NR? Well, NR happens to be the first intracellular ingredient in skincare. NR has a transport mechanism that allows it to go through your cell membrane and convert into NAD. Other ingredients can't do that. Ceramides can't do that. Retinol can't do that. NMN, which stands for nicotinamide mononucleotide, that has to convert to NR before it can turn into NAD. And NAD itself, you see, NAD, we are seeing declines, and so it would be nice to have just some NAD in your system, but that itself has to get converted to NR before it can get into the cell and be utilized. So NR, nicotinamide riboside, happens to be the best way and has the transport mechanism to get into your cell. Now, there's going to be competitors that are going to be quick to jump on the bandwagon, and you've already seen it and you've already heard about it a little bit. Some competitors will use NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. NMN is simply NR with a phosphate. That sounds nice. However, it must go through a biochemical process to turn into NR before it can be utilized. And some competitors will use NAD. And again, it needs to be converted to NR before your body can use it. For those of you in the audience, maybe you've heard of NAD IV drips that people go to in med spas and gyms and other locations. Typically, it's known that it's painful. Well, that's because your body is having, it thinks it's a foreign substance, and it is having an immune response to it. It actually has to get turned into NR to be used. And then there will be some competitors that are out there that will actually take advantage of misinformation. You see, niacinamide is not nicotinamide riboside. It's not the same thing. However, and you will see some competitors saying, we have nicotinamide in our product. That's not the same thing as NR. And they will say, riboside is in our product. That's not the same thing as NR. That's like saying, I have hydrogen instead of water, H2O. And ultimately, you will see some competitors that will say, hey, we have an NR product, and there's no NR in the ingredient. So just thought we should educate on the landscape because it's an evolving landscape. There's some misunderstandings, and there is some misinformation that is out there. So when we turn to Ayucell and the company that I work for, Ayucell started out with our founder and chairman, Perry Ha. He was taking some dietary supplements with NR and saw tremendous benefit. And so he came up with the idea of saying, hey, how do I put this into a skincare product? Well, through his connections, since he was at the time, he was a member of the board of trustees at MIT. Through his connections, he was introduced to Dr. Charles Brenner. And Dr. Charles Brenner, being the foremost authority on NAD metabolism, they decided that they were going to create a company and try to put this into skincare. However, like large companies before them, could not crack this code and make it into a commercialized product. That is where they turned to, that's why they went to Korea, because Korea is the best in skincare technology. So our third founder, Sunny Kim, really, she was the missing piece that was allowed to, we brought everything together and commercialized this into the products that we have today. So we have two products, Ayucell, an anti-aging serum and an anti-aging cream. Now, the serum is based on, or it focuses on firming wrinkles and evening skin tone, while the moisturizing, the cream is more about moisturizing, creating a dewy feel, and looking at wrinkles. So what sets us apart? We have some key ingredients in both of our products. In fact, we have 2% nicotinamide riboside, NR, in our product. Now, anybody that knows skincare knows that once you go above 1%, that's a significant amount. And so that's why we've chosen to have 2%. But we are not just NR with a bunch of filler. We have 17 different amino acids and peptides in our product. We have sodium hyaluronate in our product. We have nicotinamide, we have niacinamide in our product. These are high performance products. Oh, and they're clean. Name it. GMO free. We are vegan ready. We are going through the process to become vegan. We are cruelty free, phthalate free, sulfate free, just name the free. We are clean. So our clinical trials have validated our anti-aging benefits. You see, in the US, you can call anything an anti-aging product. However, in Korea, you have to follow certain regulations. You have to do a third-party clinical trial to prove that you have demonstrated a benefit that is anti-aging. So we've run clinical trials on each of our products independently and have had amazing results. So let's start with our age index results. We showed through our clinical trials that the average age index dropped 10 years in 8 weeks. That is ridiculous. Awesome, right? It's fantastic. Well, for those of you, I'm not sure how many of those of you in this audience understand what skin age index even means. Well, I'll explain it. So when you were born, you have a rating of 0, a newborn. An elderly person has a rating of up to 60. This is provided by quantifiable and qualitative assessment by experts that are trained to look at that. So you have an index, and what we saw was a reduction from 55 to 45 in just 8 weeks. And if we think about the whole concept of NR and being intracellular, this is a reason for the results. We've also had impressive improvements on skin elasticity and sagging reduction. So I'm not sure if some of you are familiar with how the skin elasticity is tested. They actually take a cytometer, which deforms suction cups your skin, and they take a look at how long it takes to come back to its normal state. We saw a 27% improvement on the serum. So you typically see single-digit improvements at best. And in fact, for those of you that are familiar with the snail extract that they're using in Korean beauty, they typically see a 6% improvement. And we're at about 25% across both products. Significant improvements. But it's not just the quantifiable, measured results, it's also the customer satisfaction. 100% of those that were involved in the clinical trial felt that their skin was more moisturized. And that is a key part of how you feel and how you feel when it comes to your age, that is really important. But over 90% felt that their skin became smooth and soft. They liked the cream texture and it absorbed well. We also look at our before and afters. We had visual improvements or improvements based on visual inspection. These are our before and afters from our clinical trial. Might be a little bit harder to see in this audience with the light. However, we will say that we saw improvements on wrinkles around the eyes, brightening, and sagging around the smile lines, around the cheeks and the mouth. So I think we've talked a lot about science today, right? In just a short amount of time, over 15 minutes, I've overloaded you with a lot of science. So what I think would make sense is if we went through just a couple of the commonly asked questions, the frequently asked questions, just to explain some things to you. I'm going to invite Patrick Chung, our CEO, to join me, and so we can talk about both of these.
Well, thank you so much for that presentation, and I think it's a really good moment to talk about some of these questions we get frequently. So one thing we get a lot of, especially if you're familiar with anti-aging, is, well, what's the difference between NR and NMN?
Yes. Well, NMN is similar to NR. It is NR with a phosphate attached. However, NR is the only ingredient, the only molecule that has a transport mechanism to enter your cell. So NMN has to turn into NR before it can turn into NAD inside your cell.
And I think more importantly, as we use these products on our skin, we get this question a lot. Tell us more about how this product works for sensitive skin.
So this product was actually designed with sensitive skin in mind, right? We think that it's appropriate for anybody, regardless whether you have skin or sensitive skin or not, to be able to use this. But we do recommend that you use a patch test first.
So then, besides sensitive skin, Brian, what about other skin types? Who else can use Ayucell?
All skin types can use Ayucell. Why? Because all of us have declining NAD levels as we age. And all of our cells are kind of they're thirsty for NR so that they can make more NAD. So this is a product that no matter who you are, you have cells. We all have cells, we all have a need, and it would be great to look and feel better.
Now tell us more about clean, because you mentioned before about our products, but really can you dig down a little bit deeper? Are Ayucell's products clean?
Absolutely. Look, the bar for what is clean is continually raising, and some definitions are changing. However, we stand by the fact that most of our ingredients fall as a 1 or 2 on the EWG scale. We are non-GMO. We are cruelty-free. We don't use harsh chemicals in here. So that is why it is also good for all skin types, but it is clean.
And so what is the regimen that is expected for these products if we want to see the results that we've been talking about?
Right. Well, how we did our clinicals is actually how we want to, or what we recommend for everybody to use. We recommend that people use a cleanser to wash their face. Then we recommend that somebody applies their serum. And then we recommend that somebody applies the moisturizing cream to their face. In that order, and we do it twice a day, morning and night.
Now, it seems like a lot of women are very familiar with skincare, but what about men? Should men be using this?
100%. So men and women have different skin. Men's skin typically is thicker than women's skin. However, men have declining NAD levels, just as women have declining NAD levels. And why wouldn't men want to look younger? Why would you not want to help your cells increase the concentration of NAD? So You've heard a lot from me today. You've heard some from Patrick today. Well, here's what we want you to do. Now, we have what we're calling our 8-week challenge. Our clinical studies were done over an 8-week period. We saw people lose an average of 10 years across that 8 weeks. We have a money-back guarantee. If you're not happy with the product in 30 days, return it. Get your money back, 100%. Take the 8-week challenge. Scan the QR code on the left, purchase now. If you're not ready to purchase, well, look for more information. That's what the QR code on the right is for. So we invite you to have a conversation with us and join our email list, and we will talk to you about learn a little bit more about our product. We are also here, though. We are also here because you in this room, for those beauty professionals, whether you're an esthetician or a cosmetologist, people can utilize this as a way to earn income, right? You do not have to lay out the cash. You just have to refer. This is a way where we will ship the product to your client. If you have them in the chair, on the booth, on the table, wherever you're at the desk, you just have to refer. And when they buy from you, you get a 20 to a 35% commission. Simply 4 different products, selling 4 bundles to your clients over the course of a month could be an extra $300 to you. So I think right now, I'd love to open it up to questions for anybody that has questions about NAD, NR, Ayucell, anything.
Want me to take this one?
Sure.
Okay. So what we've heard that works is that during the course of a treatment, you could offer them an opportunity to, say, for an extra $10, would you like to try cutting-edge Korean skincare? And then apply the serum and the cream. And so during that session, you get to upsell them a little bit, right? They get to actually try the product. And then if they like it, you simply refer them to a QR code and say, look, if you want to buy more, simply scan this code and you'll get it shipped directly to you. And so we think everyone who's tested it in person, has tried it, they're blown away by the feel, by the texture, and by the fragrance, which is very, very slight. And I think that's a very quick and easy way to have your customers have confidence in the product.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Well, with that then, swing by booth 604. We will be here for the rest of the convention, the conference. We hope to see you, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.